what is it, right? So I talked to a very good friend of mine, and he was working a couple of these warehouse gigs, right? He'd work either like a FedEx or UPS, CNS, which is like another medical. Now they're big now with Amazon, but that was kind of what was available at the time before Amazon was a big player. And he was like, "Look, man, I did this overnight. It's better paying, bills. If it's better paying. You worked at Staples and a couple of these other things to make money. It's hard work, but you have to figure out how to get there." I said, "All right, just get me the interview. Get me something. Give me somebody that I can talk to, and I'll figure it out." And fast forward, I was successful in getting that, and I needed to pretty much start like right away. And I did get a little bit of a pass because he was well respected, and I knew him. And so I was working overnight. Now, the thing is, I didn't have a car, and I needed to figure out a way to get there. I couldn't walk. I mean, it was driving probably about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, right? Half an hour. So walking was out of the question for that. So I picked up that job. I picked up a fast food job because my ex used to work there. So again, talking about swallowing your pride, I obviously didn't tell the owner that for the fast food place I was applying to, but I got that. And then another franchise that owned a self-storage and a retail shipping store and a couple of other properties in the area. I was really trying to talk them into an opportunity for me to, work there, solve a problem for them, because I was desperate for work, but I also knew I could do the work. So to highlight, I ended up getting a bike from a friend of mine, which, I mean, we call him the Black Captain America because he's U.S. Army Reserve. He was ROTC, junior ROTC. I mean, anybody who was serving their country, this guy was like one of the most respected guys ever. And but he was so by the book about everything, but he gave me his old bike. That is how I got to work. It was an hour bike ride uphill. Okay. It was a nice ride once you got out at 7:30 in the morning, you'd ride down. But that I got up at 1:00 in the morning. I was out by 2. I biked between 2 to 3:15. I got out of the shipping job at 7:30 in the morning. I would go to one of 3 other jobs, depending on what day it was. And I did that for at least 6 months. I was falling asleep, as standing up in some of these other jobs. I was able to get some of my food from the fast food, because again, you get like up to a certain amount. So if somebody makes a mistake as far as for ordering something, it generally gets thrown away. I would try to save whatever it is that I could, because I mean, when we're talking, I didn't have any money. I am hand washing my clothes in the tub. I am hanging them up throughout the apartment. I'm eating hamburgers, pancakes, pasta, cereal. I mean, the cheapest things that you could possibly think about, to just, there was no money. Literally I was negative money before getting into this. And, tired is not the word. It literally breaks your soul to try to stay awake at 2:00 in the morning. And you're almost banging yourself against the truck. Like, why am I doing this? What did I get myself into? Because I mean, these jobs are not fun. And nobody goes into fast food because they enjoy it. Nobody goes to load a truck because that's what they want to do for the rest of their life. They're like, hey, I need a few bucks. This is what it is. And while I'm there, you realize loading trucks, you have felons that are working there. You have guys that are drunk, guys that are pothead. They don't care. As long as somebody shows up to load the truck, that's it. Fast food, same deal. These guys are young, or they don't care, or, they maybe have questionable citizenship or whatever it is. These are not the best people. I'm not saying this is 100% true everywhere, but this is what you are putting yourself in mentally and physically every day. You have to succeed. You have to succeed. There is no failure. There was one guy when I was working in the fast food place, he literally tried to steal my bike multiple times when I had it in one of the back rooms. He thought it was funny. I caught him 3 times walking it out the back door. He wanted to get into a fight with me because he was stealing my bike. Literally, that is the only thing that I have right now. It's a $200 bike. I bought my bike, once I made a little bit of money, the one my friend gave me was breaking down, so I had to go buy a new bike. It was a $200 bike. And one of the mornings when I'm coming down one of the back roads, somebody decides to not want to wait for me while I'm crossing the road and hits me with their car. I almost tipped over. I don't know how I stayed up. Literally by the grace of God, I I kept myself up. They slammed on the brakes in front of me, so I veered around them, almost fell to my right, and I only got bumped up because I bumped off the side of their vehicle, right? And I look up in the rear of the mirror. I'm like, this person cannot be that. Are they serious right now? And I look at them in the rear of the mirror, and they're waving me like, get out of the middle of the road. You're in the middle of the road. I'm like, are you? Oh man, like, what is the plate number? I need to report this person. You know, these are the things that I go, I can't, there is no choice. I have to continue. I cannot fail. You get home at night, you try to stay awake long enough on the bike. You try to stay long enough to eat something. You don't want to shower. Once you shower, your body drops. And I cannot tell you how many times that literally I am doing a marine crawl. I can't even make it up to the bed. I had a queen size bed I was sleeping on at the time. I physically did not have the capacity to pull myself up to the bed. I slept on the floor.
Oh,
And
yes.
the amount of sweat that came off of me, like my feet were constantly soaked enough. Like if you walk around barefoot enough, you have this buildup of skin on the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and you girls like to go and get the pedicures and, get it scrubbed down and it's all soft and beautiful again. Well, that don't happen that way with guys. Just do this program where you're working 2 weeks where your feet are constantly wet. I went one of the times I was able to get up in bed. I was like, oh, I must have stepped on something on my way over because I feel this thing at the bottom of my foot. I go to get it and there's a hole in my foot. I was like, what is this? And what I feel is the skin because that buildup, right? That toughness. I used to like walk around all the time barefoot. But I was in sneakers, I was in boots, I was biking. The skin, all that dead skin had become so wet that I literally could just pull off the bottom layer. All
Oh
that dead.
my God, the
Oh,
calluses.
yes, yes. And I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. I'm like, all right, but through all of that, like I said, I did not exist to the world besides working for probably about 6 months, right? And in that time, in that work ethic, and I'm not saying it was perfect. There was times where I got up and it was raining and I'd have to try to call a cab and the cab would be late and it would pick me up and then it would drive up. It would get pulled over by the cops. It was somebody who was illegal, who didn't have paperwork. I'm showing up to work in a cop car because I'm like, look, I need to get to work and then I need to figure out how to get my, bike afterwards. Literally this could be a movie, right? But through all the exhaustion, all the just beating my body. I was in like Herculean, my legs, like I could have done like the triathlons and stuff, right? But through all of that, I saved money. I paid my bills. I shifted right around the time that I wanted to buy a new iMac. That first job I told you about, that franchise that had multiple businesses under their name,
Right.
they liked what I was doing and they had some opportunities that were coming up and they said, well, what do we need to do to bring you on full time? And I said, well, this is how much I need, which was more than what I needed at the time. I just need to make sure that I could float my bills and, still maintain that level of savings that I was, doing. Because I wanted to start, I wanted to get into getting insurance. I wanted to look at getting a credit card. I wanted to start building my future from that. And they said, okay, we'll do that. Here's the hours you're going to work. Here's what we're going to pay. Is that going to work? I said, yes. And then I was able to systematically, after that, drop all those other exhausting levels of work, and it was weird. It was weird being able to sleep at night. It was weird being able to, I had all this energy, and you're driving to the fast food place that you used to work at like 4 or 5 times just because you could. It used to take you like an hour to bike. You're doing it in like 15 minutes. Like, yeah, let's just go on the other side of town, and it's stupid, but it's one of those things that it's a personal measurement of a milestone for success. And it's small. I mean, this happened like probably 10 years ago, right? But at the end of the day, it's one of those things that you go, as things get tough in life, as things get worse in life and people, like, I don't want to measure, oh, I got it worse than you. I don't do that, because I always will have a lot worse stories than most people. But when you are really in a bad situation, you go, look, man, if I could do this there, I could figure this out now. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying there's not going to be consequences. I'm not saying I'm going to be happy about the outcome of the decision right now, but I'm going to figure this out. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I didn't have that answer at that time, right? It took me a while, and things just sort of fell into place, and you made them work. And it's absolutely insane to try to have 5 part-time jobs at the same time with little to no sleep, making nothing. I would play a game with myself. I'd put $20 in my wallet and see if I could not break that 20 for the entire week. And if I did, that would be the taxi money that I would use to go get my laundry washed, or go to the store and go get more food than what I can carry in a backpack and on a bike or something. The little challenges that we try to do with people that are really that motivated, that insightful, that inspired. Because you'll hear people that, like, when I was working in that retail store, in that clothing store, there was a McDonald's in the same parking lot. It was less than a 2-minute walk in the same parking lot. People like, it's too far of a walk. I don't want to walk all the way out there. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I walked an hour and 15 minutes to get over here. Like, you get your little lazy behind over there. Go. And that's, it is amazing what people will give as excuses to not be successful, to not have success, to not fulfill their goals. Not even if it's successful or profitable. Just, if you want to be a writer, you want to write a book, give yourself a year, regardless of what's going on, write a book, right? At the end of the day, even if the book sucks, you have the experience of writing the book. You have the challenge of having a timeline, meeting or exceeding that deadline. And at the end, you might have something that's profitable, and you might have something that you actually love doing, So, and that's very difficult to do. I'm not saying that everybody's going to have those opportunities, but you got to be ready for them. You got to be flexible to them, and you got to be willing to challenge yourself in ways where you didn't think you're going to do it. I mean, sometimes I do it on a daily basis. I'm going for a walk. I'm going for a run. You know what? I'm going to stop at this fire hydrant, and I see this plant. No, I'm going to stop over there. No, I'm going to stop at this house. I'm exhausted, but I've just pushed myself 3 times more than I thought I was going to, just to see if I can do it. Then the next day I do more. The next day I do more. The next day I do more. And then now you're running the whole block. Now you're running, a mile in 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is. But anyway, that's my soapbox. Sorry for a very detailed story, but a lot of details, very inspirational. And I just think it's something that should be shared. I mean, I don't feel too bad about my ex. I mean, at this point, what I have done is, from that pain point, I have created stories that have happened there that I share with as many people as I can, that get a laugh, that I probably owe her a check, especially if I start doing stand-up comedy myself.
It's one of those situations where in the moment, it was super crappy and you built through, but you learn from what is going on.
You got to do what you got to do. And that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, there's a lot of pain that you can focus in on there. There's a lot of struggle. But at the end of the day, if you can make that entertaining and then even profitable, that's awesome. That is what this is all about. And that's really what these entertainers have done through their pain, through their struggle. They have created an art. And the art of storytelling is exactly that, a masterclass in taking something that affected you in a negative way, or in a way that you don't want to take it, and reformat it into something that is successful, inspiring, and, like I said, at the end of the day, potentially and possibly profitable.
So all the entire experience you went through, not so great girlfriend, having all those jobs, has given you material for today.
And it gives me more than material.
That's a trip. That's intense. Like you said, I wish that upon no one ever to have to deal with someone who's not supportive, but it's having that supportive person around that believes in you.
Well, your orbit is really important. So, I mean, friends is really an underrated term, especially on social media. I had to find a friend that if I can call them to call them up at 2 o'clock in the morning and help me move, or I'm having a flood and I need